Despite its deserved reputation as being the most magical place on Earth, with some of the best rides at Walt Disney World, Disney's Magic Kingdom isn't really known for its restaurants, but if you know where to look within this diversely themed park, you won't have to spoil the magic when it's time to grab a bite to eat. Hi, I'm the Frugal Brit, and for this video I will outline my ranking of the top 10 best restaurants at Disney's Magic Kingdom. As always, I do allow my ranking to be influenced by good value, so you will see some quick service options surprisingly high up on the list. Opinions will of course vary when ranking restaurants, so please let me know in the comments where you disagree with anything to provide some likely needed balance. Before we get into it, a big thank you to Disney Emoji Blitz for sponsoring this video. If you haven't already heard, Disney Emoji Blitz is a highly popular Disney licensed mobile game with fantastic reviews and can be downloaded for free on your mobile device or tablet using the link in the video description. It stands out from the crowd of Match 3 games with its deep collection of licensed emojis from Disney, Pixar, Star Wars, with new emojis regularly added. There's hundreds of emojis to collect within the silver, gold, rainbow exclusive, story and villain categories. You can also flex your collected emojis in your text messages with friends. Each emoji has its own unique power-up and you control what to use, offering a strong layer of strategy to each game you play. My current favourite is Anakin Skywalker with his special pod racing ability. The perfect companion for your next Walt Disney World vacation, keeping you and the family entertained on the airplane, travelling over to the parks and waiting in lines. Download below using the link in the video description, which acts as a sort of creator code, so anything you spend in the game will support the channel. Thank you again to Disney Emoji Blitz for sponsoring this video. To start off my ranking at number 10, we have the baseball-inspired Casey's Corner quick service restaurant, one of the easiest to find, located at the northwest corner of Main Street, themed to an early 20th century baseball concession stand, serving a variety of specialty hot dogs. A staple of Main Street, Casey's Corner has been a fan favourite since it first opened in 1995, designed to have all of the vibrant colours from Walt's baseball era, with bright red pinstripes decorating the walls as guests walk up to the counter. Memorabilia and old photos adorn the walls with various nods to the history of baseball and Coca-Cola. Its outdoor seating area features old-fashioned red and white tables and chairs, with incredible views of Cinderellas castle. Outside of the pandemic, a ragtime piano player performs ragtime and Disney classics various times throughout the day. The lunch and dinner entrees at Casey's Corner range between $10 and $14, and its snacks range between $5 and $7, making it one of the better value dining choices within Magic Kingdom. Its highlights include the chili cheese French fries, its chili cheese all beef footlong hot dog, and its corn dog nuggets and the frozen mint julep lemonade. Those that rate Casey's Corner appreciate its value, definitely one of the better choices for those on a budget. It's a really fun place to rest and enjoy tasty hot dogs with great music and views, providing an atmosphere that's hard to beat. However, Casey's Corner won't be for everyone. Of course, if you don't like hot dogs, you won't find much else on the menu. Also, as it's a fan favourite located at an extremely busy section of the park, it does attract crowds, and certainly not a good choice if you're looking for a quiet and peaceful bite to eat. For number 9, we won't need to walk far for one of the first table service restaurants to open at the Magic Kingdom in 1971, which is the Victorian-themed Plaza Restaurant, tucked away on the opposite side of Main Street on the walkway that takes you over to Tomorrowland next to the Plaza Ice Cream Parlour. The Plaza Restaurant aims for turn-of-the-century Victorian elegance with bright white colours based on Disneyland's Plaza Inn restaurant, previously known as the Red Wagon, which was a favourite of Walt's. Inside, it features a lot of natural light with an inviting solarium, beautifully embellished light fixtures, and decorative mirrors. Its gazebo-style seating area on the far side of the restaurant offers great views of Cinderella Castle. For lunch and dinner, the appetizers cost between $9 and $13, and the entrees range between $17 and $24. The highlights include the Plaza loaded fries, the meatloaf, the fried chicken sandwich, and Plaza Restaurant Sundae. This restaurant is a good choice for those looking for simple and budget-friendly comfort food with great air conditioning for those hot days. It's one of the cheaper table service restaurants at Magic Kingdom. With this in mind, it's a good option to recommend to those that are struggling to decide between quick service or table service. Similar to Casey's Corner, guests enjoy gorgeous views of the castle. One of the main downsides to Plaza Restaurant is its small size, so very difficult to get reservations. Be sure to book as soon as you can. Service can sometimes be slow. It could also be said that the food is quite basic. Many items fall within the burger or sandwich category, so nothing really to write home about, with most other table service restaurants at Magic Kingdom providing more interesting choices. The Victorian splendour continues for the next restaurant at number 8, which is the greenhouse-inspired Crystal Palace Buffet restaurant located back on the west side of Main Street past Casey's Corner, just before the entrance to Adventureland at the Hub, specialising in American comfort food. Crystal Palace was initially closed during the pandemic. Prior to this, it was a character buffet restaurant, then it returned with an all-you-can-eat family-style menu for lunch and dinner only, and then during the making of this video, thankfully its buffet returned. Still no breakfast, however. Inside, guests are welcome to a beautiful open space that was inspired by the Victorian greenhouses of the 1800s, featuring colourful Winnie the Pooh topiaries and other greenery, as well as a large dome ceiling. Unfortunately, the characters are still yet to return, so no Winnie the Pooh and his friends from the 100-acre wood for the time being. The all-you-can-eat pricing for either lunch or dinner is $39 for adults and $23 for children. Its highlights include the crispy fried chicken, its prime rib, and its honey of a cupcake. This is a really good choice for anyone super hungry for some southern-style comfort food and can be good value in those circumstances. Outside of the pandemic, this can be a time-efficient way to meet some characters with your breakfast. Despite these positives, it is a very loud restaurant. Don't expect the most high-end cuisine, as is often the case with buffets. Definitely not one to recommend if you're only looking for a small bite to eat. Hopefully, we will see Winnie the Pooh return in the near future. This takes away a lot of the appeal for many, although I do think there will be a smaller proportion of guests that'll prefer the slower and more relaxed experience that you get without the characters. For number 7, we're finally moving away from Main Street, heading to the top of Fantasyland for Gastons Tavern quick service restaurant, which is the Magic Kingdom's tribute to the manliest of men from Beauty and the Beast, situated a couple doors from Belle's Cottage, serving a light menu of snacks and desserts. Ahead of the entrance is a grand Gaston water fountain statue, generously gifted by the man himself. Gastons Tavern has the theme and appearance of the tavern from the movie, where Gaston sings his title song. Inside, you'll find a giant portrait over a large fireplace. Antlers and buckskins hang upon the wall, lined with barrels. Its snacks, which are available for breakfast, lunch and dinner, range from $7 to $15. Its signature non-alcoholic beverage costs $12.99, which is called Le Fou's Brew, Disney's answer to Universal's Butterbeer, which is an apple soda with marshmallow foam topping, which looks like the beer served from the film. Other highlights from the incredibly limited menu include the warm cinnamon rolls and the popular grey stuff cupcake. Those that rate Gastons Tavern appreciate its humorous and well-executed theming. It's a great choice for a cheap snack to keep you going. Very popular choice on TripAdvisor. However, I would say that I think a lot of the appeal is social media driven. The menu is obviously very limited. A Gastons Tavern does feel like it needs more meat options, an issue that wasn't helped by Disney removing the popular pork shank a number of years ago. At number 6, we have the extremely popular Be Our Guest restaurant, a short walk away from the preceding entry, which has been known to serve both quick service and prefix table service, and specialises in French cuisine, and themed of course to Disney's Beauty and the Beast movie, located at the foot of the Beast's castle at the northmost point of the park in New Fantasyland. The entrance to the castle is protected by gargoyles along the stone path bridge with a flowing waterfall. Lion statues guard the doors. When it's time to be seated, you'll proceed through the foyer to enter the grand ballroom. Be Our Guest consists of 3 separate Imagineered dining areas from the Beast's castle. So you have the main centerpiece grand ballroom with its high domed ceiling, chandeliers and snow-laced gothic arches. There's the West Wing, based on the Beast's mysterious study, featuring the Enchanted Rose and recurring thunderstorms, often the preferred choice for returning guests, but can be frightening for young children. Then lastly, you have the Castle Gallery, also known as the Rose Gallery, where guests are surrounded by portraits of Belle and the Beast, centred by a giant twirling music box. The restaurant will sometimes be able to accommodate a request for a particular room, but this will increase your wait time. If possible, I would probably try and avoid the Castle Gallery, as this is the least magical and often not what the kids were expecting. Outside of the pandemic, table service meal guests do get an opportunity to meet and have a photo taken with the Beast at the end of their meal. In the meantime, the Beast will on occasion make physically distanced appearances throughout the restaurant. At the time of making this video, Be Our Guest offers a 3-course prefix menu for lunch and dinner only, which costs $62 for adults and $37 for kids. There's also been some big changes to the menus at Be Our Guest, which I'll cover shortly. Its highlights include the French onion soup, the centre-cut filet mignon, and the famous white chocolate chip cup filled with grey stuff and crisp pearls. Those that love Be Our Guest appreciate the incredibly immersive atmosphere with its fantastic theming elements. It's a restaurant you have to experience at least once, probably the one your kids will pick above all others if given the opportunity. But there are a few issues. It's incredibly difficult to get a reservation. It's very noisy, especially in the ballroom. The changes to the menu since the pandemic have not been particularly well received. So prior to this, Disney provided multiple courses at a fixed price, also known as prefix. This was for quick service for breakfast and table service for dinner. For lunch, Disney also offered a normal quick service menu, so a bit of a hodgepodge of options really. It's become much simpler since Disney reopened, as they no longer provide any quick service for the time being. Instead, guests are limited to prefix table service menus for lunch and dinner only, with no breakfast available whatsoever. This is particularly disappointing, as the quick service lunch provided the best bang for your buck. The table service food is good quality but not good value compared to similarly priced alternatives if we're to focus on the food specifically. The food presentation has taken a noticeable hit since the pandemic, so probably not a restaurant I'd recommend unless you're going to value the theming and atmosphere. For number 5, we're headed west for the Sleepy Hollow refreshment stand overlooking Cinderella's castle, serving a handful of unique snacks situated in Liberty Square overlooking the side of Cinderella's castle. Despite its reputation as a hidden gem, it's impossible to miss when travelling from the central hub over to Liberty Square. The brick cottage is modelled after Sleepy Hollow author Washington Irving's home, with additional references to his stories found inside. Whilst there's no indoor seating, there is outdoor seating overlooking Cinderella's castle, a beautiful place to sit provided it isn't too hot, and provides some really good alternative photo opportunities of the castle without having to compete for space with other guests. Its snacks range between $6 and $9, and there's also a similarly priced breakfast menu. Its highlights can be difficult to pin down as the menu changes quite frequently. Some items come and go, such as the sweet and spicy chicken waffle sandwich, which was my favourite. You also have the fresh fruit waffle sandwich and the funnel cakes. Sleepy Hollow also offers specialty treats during the Halloween and Christmas seasons. Those that rate Sleepy Hollow appreciate its unique snacks, in particular the perfectly golden brown waffles. It's one of the more peaceful places to eat in the Magic Kingdom. However, it has become quite popular in recent years, so expect long wait times. It's one of the weaker restaurants when it comes to theming in my ranking, but because of its castle views, it sort of gets away with it. Lastly, I would say probably one to avoid if you don't like waffles or funnel cakes. Staying in Liberty Square for number 4, we have another quick service restaurant, which is Columbia Harbour House, with an 18th century New England seaside harbour theming, specialising in mainly seafood but also sandwiches and other American fare, located across the way from Haunted Mansion. This restaurant suffered a lengthy closure during the pandemic, but it is now back in operation. It's a celebration of early New England nautical history. The 2 floors are adorned with paintings, model ships, and numerous other artefacts to immerse you into the days of sail. It has a very often overlooked dining area on the 2nd floor containing plentiful seating with views of Liberty Square and Fantasyland. When it comes to pricing, the lunch and dinner entrees range between $9 and $16. Its desserts cost $3 to $5 and the sides will cost $5 on average. Its highlights include the trio platter, the plant-based lighthouse sandwich, and the popular lobster roll. Those that rate Columbia Harbour House point to its welcoming and transportive atmosphere with above-par theming for a quick-service restaurant. It provides a welcome and air-conditioned break from the hustle and bustle of the park, especially if you grab a seat upstairs. With its seafood-focused menu that's improved a lot over the past 5 years, it also provides a welcome break from your typical pizza, burger, chicken tenders or hot dog from the alternative quick-service restaurants. The downside here though is that it's slightly more expensive than many of these alternatives, as is often the case with seafood. There's also smaller portions on average at this restaurant. For my third best restaurant, I've gone for Cinderella's Royal Table Signature Restaurant, Disney's flagship dining choice at Magic Kingdom, serving fine dining American cuisine located inside Cinderella's castle, which is of course the main centerpiece of the Magic Kingdom. Dining at this restaurant is the only way guests can enter the castle outside of a VIP experience. Your journey begins as you enter the castle, through the entrance and to the Grand Hall, which used to be used for the meet and greets with the princesses and is expected to return, hopefully in the not so distant future. Guests ascend the spiral staircase to the banquet hall to dine within its storybook setting, surrounded by soaring stone archways with medieval banners and spectacular stained glass windows overlooking Fantasyland. Prior to the pandemic, Cinderella's Royal Table used to be a full character dining meal that included 4 to 5 Disney princesses, but during the pandemic it hasn't been referred to as a character meal, as no character will come over to your table, but you will still see appearances from Cinderella every 30 to 60 minutes or so. This restaurant also provides an opportunity to view the fireworks from inside the castle. Cinderella's Royal Table offers guests a prix-fixe meal that includes appetizer, entree and dessert. The current price is slightly reduced due to the lack of character meet and greets. It costs $62 per adult and $37 per child 3 to 9 years old for lunch and dinner, and for breakfast it's $42 for adults and $27 for kids. Expect to see price increases of about 30% when the characters return. Its highlights include the roasted all-natural chicken breast, the beef tenderloin and the Clock Strikes 12 dessert. Those that rate Cinderella's Royal Table appreciate the fairy tale dining experience. It is somewhat of a bucket list for Disney World, especially if you have kids that are into princesses. The food is very well presented, it's also very tasty. However, I think when focusing on the food specifically, quite poor value I would say, similar to Be Our Guest. You're paying for the castle experience and for the fact that reservations for both restaurants are highly sought after, to say the least. As mentioned, the price has been reduced for the pandemic at Cinderella's to account for the lack of characters and interaction, but doesn't go far enough I would say. If you're interested in a comparison with the Be Our Guest restaurant, I will provide a few paragraphs in the video description. The second best restaurant in my ranking is the Liberty Tree Tavern table service restaurant, themed to an 18th century colonial style home. A tribute to the Founding Fathers, serving traditional New England inspired fare, located in the Liberty Square land just south of the Liberty Bell. Liberty Tree Tavern has been a staple of Magic Kingdom, celebrating the nation's heritage since its first opening in 1971. Its interior features rich wood panelling, candelabra chandeliers, brooms, cookware and other colonial household supplies, and a large brick fireplace. Each of its 6 rooms commemorates a pivotal figure in US history, containing signature artifacts famously associated with each American hero. Cast members look right at home in their colonial garb. Guests often refer to it as Thanksgiving all year due to the Patriots platter, which includes all-you-can-eat roasted turkey, pot roast and oven-roasted pork served with mashed potatoes and more. The cost for this Patriots platter, served during lunch and dinner, is $39 for adults and $21 for children. This also includes the very popular dessert known as the Ooey Gooey Toffee Cake, which is a mixture of vanilla toffee cake, chocolate sauce and vanilla ice cream. Those that rate Liberty Tree Tavern appreciate its charming decor, which thankfully Disney has preserved well since the park's opening. Obviously a very good dining choice around the holidays, The food is not too adventurous, so good for families with young children. You tend to find that it tops most people's ranking of best restaurants at the Magic Kingdom. The service is incredibly efficient, sometimes too efficient if you want to enjoy the ambience at a leisurely pace. But the opposite can be the case during the holidays. It isn't the best choice for everyone, not the most exciting menu. A common complaint is that the pork is too dry. Overall, whilst I think it's undoubtedly one of the best restaurants at Magic Kingdom, it does seem like nostalgia plays a big part in people's affection for Liberty Tree Tavern, not that there's anything wrong with that. My top restaurant from Magic Kingdom is the Jungle Navigation Company Limited Skipper Cateen, or just Skipper Cateen for short, which opened in 2015, specialising in exotic cuisine from Asia, South America and Africa, themed to the famous Jungle Cruise attraction, which is where this table service restaurant is located in Adventureland, across from Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse. The story behind this restaurant is that Dr. Albert Falls founded the Jungle Navigation Company, which was taken over by his granddaughter Alberta, who decided to offer jungle cruises to tourists who naturally needed a place to eat. So the old crew mess hall, used by the lovable and goofy skippers, was transformed into the Skipper Cateen restaurant for travellers and fellow adventure seekers. The resulting restaurant contains 3 dining rooms. You have the crew mess hall, which contains a number of artefacts found by explorers and adventurers, the Society of Explorers and Adventurers room, or the C room for short, which is a secret meeting room behind a once hidden bookshelf. The 3rd dining room is the Falls Family Parlour, where you'd find the Falls family at most meal times. This restaurant serves lunch and dinner only. The appetizers range between $9 and $13, and the entrees are between $19 and $35. The highlights include the Orinoco Idas Cachapas. With the entrees, you have the Hardy Har Char Shoe Pork, Dr. Falls signature grilled steak, the comically named It Tastes Like Chicken Because It Is dish, and for dessert, you have the chocolate-filled Kungaloosh. Those that rate Skipper Cateen appreciate its authentic and interesting cuisine, certainly the most adventurous menu at Magic Kingdom. It's another contender for best themed restaurant. The backstory is really hard to beat, which obviously pairs very nicely with the Jungle Cruise attraction nearby. The fun service from cast members make a big contribution here. Also, much easier to score reservations at Skipper Cateen compared to the alternative options. Value-wise, this restaurant is okay, but obviously not one to pick if you're on a tight budget. Despite being my favourite, its light menu will be too exotic for a lot of guests, and also the dessert options don't compare particularly well to the alternatives. Well, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you have an awesome trip whenever that is. Do check out my other videos if you're headed to Disney World anytime soon, and if you're interested in future Orlando vacation content, don't forget to subscribe.